In the Shadow War DLC for Batman Arkham Knight, should Batman save Ra's al Ghul or destroy the last bit of Lazarus that's keeping him alive? Ultimately, it was always the player's decision to make, as the game gives you an option for either administering the cure or destroying the machine and letting him die. And when first introduced into the Civil War within the League of Assassins, Batman understands that the Loyalists have already brought him back too many times for him ever to be stable, so preemptively, he advocates for the Loyalists to finally let him die as he should have many centuries ago. But through challenging the beliefs and moral code of the Dark Knight, and with Ra's playing on his heartstrings by mentioning Talia, he ventures out to track down this undiscovered Lazarus pit. But after finally locating it, Batman gets surrounded by Ra's other daughter,
Nyssa.
Thank you, Bruce.
Does Ra's know his daughter fights for the rebels?
The rebels fight for me. And that zombie no longer...
a zombie. That's what Ra's own daughter thinks of him, and after so many exposures to the Lazarus pit, after all, could you really blame her? But finally, we return back to Ra's and end up where we first started. We could either witness untold devastation by the hands of Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins, or we could let this shell of a man finally pass on after over 600 years of being brought back from the dead. Understanding the implications of both choices, it's clear to me that the option I believe Batman would naturally choose is to let him die. In conversations with Alfred, he words his opinion, showing that there's nothing natural about him even existing at all.
Sir, if you don't mind, I just wanted to suggest that, given Rash's supernatural longevity and his current state of artificially prolonged existence...
That. Artificially prolonged existence. His entire existence has only been allowed by a mystical restorative element, so put under the same natural effects that you and I are under, we both know Ra's should have died a long time ago. And personally, I've always compared it to if Batman was faced with saving a man from dying of old age with the use of advanced technology or something along those lines. When put simply like that, the most moral option is for the old man to take life's course and pass on as all organic beings do. But in this instance, Ra's isn't just a simple old man.
He's a dangerous, uncompromising zealot, sir. Restored to full strength, there's no telling what he'll do, or who he might hurt. Is preventing some ungodly resurrection truly the same as taking a life?
And being in the state of having your intestines almost falling out, what could this pure sample of Lazarus even do? Understanding more about the side effects of Lazarus, each time the user is exposed to it, they're restored to perfect health while healing most ailments. But the more you're injured and the closer you are to death, the more crazed you come out after being exposed. And back in Arkham City, even with Batman only ingesting a small amount, it still led to a few nasty side effects, as he mentioned. And usually these effects, especially the more severe of them, they eventually wear off after a period of time. But it seems like within different continuities, the Lazarus pit tends to have quite a bit of inconsistencies. In most instances, it'll heal you back to full health, with the slight symptom being short-term madness. But in other instances, the pit only heals you if you're close to death but not actually dead. Sometimes it'll heal you but you'll forever be insane. Sometimes it actually heals your mind, and sometimes it'll heal you with absolutely no side effects. So from just that, it's clear to see the effects that the Lazarus pit leaves on the user is extremely unpredictable. And within that unpredictability, any number of those things could happen to Ra's if given this pure sample of Lazarus. But assuming that it'll affect him as it usually does, we now know that if given full access to this pure form of Lazarus, Ra's would most certainly abuse its power and possibly never returning to a normal state. But then again, I'm not sure if Ra's has ever been considered normal. So following the path of making the right decision and letting Ra's survive through his final days, I found it interesting how from this point on, the game tries to make you feel like you made the wrong choice. When carrying Ra's out of his hideout, it mirrors when Batman did the exact same for the Joker, and we both know how this game also guilt trips you into thinking that the Joker's death was Batman's fault. And even after taking Ra's back to GCPD, he painfully murmurs,
"Detective, proud of you."
showing that he's taking the perspective that, in his eyes, he did essentially kill him and become his successor in doing so. But again, I think it's yet another ploy to try and make the player think that what they're doing is wrong. And you know, I'm not quite sure what the consensus was back when the DLC first released, but taking a look at this post on Quora from back in the day, it details this individual's thoughts on the two decisions, and at the end, they claim that saving Ra's is the right answer and the Batman answer. And you know, I'm not gonna rip into this person and their opinion because that's exactly what it is, just an opinion. But I think it's definitely not the right answer or the Batman answer. While yes, Batman is in the business of saving as many people as he physically is able to, in his code therein lies some pretty massive gray areas, and this being one of them. It's not so easy just to pick one option over the other. Batman knows that there's gonna be consequences no matter what decision he makes. It's just a matter of picking the most moral option that sacrifices the least amount of innocent people possible. So in my eyes, letting him die prevents any further travesties from happening to the world by the head of the demon. Letting Ra's al Ghul die is the right decision.